We are live. Hello, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. We don't know where are you based and located. This is Elena. I am the CEO of Leah Growing People, also leadership and a team coach. And today I have with me Lara El Saad. She is a circular economy and sustainability strategy and a coach, of course, at Leah. Thank you very much, Lara, for being with us today.
Good morning, Elena. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be connected online, offline, that's amazing. So I want just to introduce this topic of laid off in general and why we decided to tap onto this stressful topic, for many. Um, Data are quite scary, right? So if we are going to look back during COVID in 2020, for example, we have around 80,000 laid off in tech company specifically, as we are looking this through this lens. But the most scary thing is that only between January and now of 2023, we already got 94,000 laid off. So in 3 months, we got more than what we got in a year. So of course, we were very stressed in COVID, recession, etc. But now we're also entering in another quite scary stage of the evolution of the human being, I might say, and the evolution of the business. We really wanted to have you with us today with your perspective on sustainability, but also as a coach to guide us and people who potentially are going through this difficult circumstances of being already let off or of dealing with the fear of being the next in the pipeline of losing a job, to get some skills and tools on how to navigate this scary period. So, you have been going through that. And I think, and in past, if we start thinking about friends, or potentially even our relatives or ourselves, we have been going through that in time. So, what was your initial reaction, and what also are normal reaction we expect people to have going through this phase?
Yeah, so just to give everyone a bit of background, I was working at my company for 16 years, and due to a number of changes over the years, we saw multiple waves of restructuring, which resulted in layoffs, which is very natural in our environment. We're no longer like the age of our parents where they stayed in careers their entire lives and very few changes happened, where it's we're in a much faster paced time. So after 16 years there was a restructuring and I was one of the impacted people. And I stayed without a role for an entire year. My initial reaction, and each person's reaction will be different, of course, in terms of the different factors of financial stability, family responsibility, where you're living in the world, how affordable is where you're living. Are you living in your home country? Are you an expat? There are so many different factors that come into play. But the initial reaction is, even if it's expected, is always this kind of, I think, this shock of, oh my God, I've been made redundant. Um, if you Most companies let employees know well ahead of time. It's very unfortunate if companies make it a sudden redundancy, because really you need to give people time to be able to prepare and to consider what options they have. So if you've been told that you're being made redundant, I think it takes a few days for things to settle in. I think we go into a bit of a kind of survival mode of, okay, what do I need to do? What are my next steps? What are my options? Who do I need to speak to? So there's a whole range of things that start running through the mind in that, first moment of receiving the letter or the communication.
I also have noticed from our personal experience that sometimes we tend to go immediately into the fixing modality. There's a problem, I need to fix it, without sometimes not even allowing ourselves to really grieve it,
Yeah,
because somehow, even if we don't want to, we identify ourselves with our role and with our job title or job position at the company we have been represented for so long, our team. So many things are involved. And I always have given the suggestion of, okay, yes, we are very resourceful. We will find a way to solve that, but let's acknowledge for a moment. And it might take very long because every person, as you said, is different. What has been taken away. So let's stay a little bit into that hole, this
mhm,
empty space, um, because of course we can later on fill up that space with new opportunity, but somehow it's a matter of let go of this Lara, of this Elena that was driving to that office, entering in that intranet, having that job title, having that email. It's a kind of a person that is dying or is dead. And I know they also require a lot of bravery to face it as an actual death, and giving ourselves the time to grieve and grieve. But I've been seeing from experience that if you do not procrastinate that process, then it will be much easier to fill that gap.
absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. It's an ending of a relationship. It's an ending of a relationship with your job, with the person that you were in that company, the ending of a relationship with a lot of colleagues that you spend the majority of your life at work more than you do at home. And a lot of colleagues are not necessarily friends, but they're positive people that impact your life on a daily basis at the office. So it is, no matter how short or long that period is, it's still an ending. And yeah, absolutely, it is a grieving period. It is an ending, just as you're ending a relationship with an individual person. But also, I think uh, taking it not just as a grieving period, grief, but also recognizing what are the opportunities that are going to present from this situation? What have I learned from my time at this place? So rather than approaching it as, yes, I'm grieving, I'm sad that it's ended, but what have I learned from my time in this organization or working with these people? What can I take away from that? What do I want to continue doing from what I learned? And what do I want to do a little bit differently this time around? And it's the same thing with your personal relationships, whether it's, with your ending a relationship with your partner. What did I learn? What did I do well? What do I want to do differently? And it's just a different model. It's just a different face in front of you. It's a job this time. It's a company.
But still, I'm totally agree with you. It's a relationship, and definitely. And I always have been told what by maybe my first coach, how you do anything is how you do everything. So maybe this experience that you are looking your life through, let's say it's career, but you can also use that if it's relationship, if it's friends, if it's
Mhm.
a partner, if it's, and you name it. So I think that this things that you have said, it's really, naturally bringing me to the next question that I had for you, which was which step to take to explore that new career option. So let's imagine that what we have mentioned so far is already one of the steps, like, okay,
We agree. We're
that means
grieving.
the relationship is ended, even emotionally, and don't be scared of going through and what literally does this mean to you on all level, practical level, financial level, emotional
Mhm.
level, responsibility, relationship level. But what else?
Look, if I go back to my process, I went into autopilot. I need to find a job. I need to go on LinkedIn. I need to search. I need to research. I was, full autopilot, let's say panic mode almost of I need to find the next thing. I have financial responsibilities, my family, schooling, insurance. How am I going to cover all of this? What are we going to do? So the first thing that I did was, fortunately for me, is I recognized that I needed a break. So we don't, when you're plugged into work, you're waking up, switching on your computer, you go straight into the work mindset, and you're constantly thinking, 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 thinking. Now all of a sudden you don't need to wake up for this job, you need to wake up for other things. So it's just recognizing that, you know what, let me just be still for a little bit. Let me let everything settle, not necessarily as a grief period, but just let my mind just sit. Let me process what's happened. Let me explore what it is that I want to do. So I took some time to just settle, so a settling period. Then the realization that, oh my God, this is like the biggest breakup of my life after 16 years. So there was the grief period. And then the curiosity of, well, I've been waking up and working every day. I've actually been unplugged from the outside world. Let's see what's happening outside. My whole life isn't just my computer and the company. So what I started doing was meeting with people, networking with people,
So I
meeting
hear
people
you
I haven't
saying
spoken to in a long time.
it's very I want like to stop you here because I tapped into something in addition to the doing, which was like, let me just be,
Yes.
what if I can just reconnect myself with who I naturally am, what else is important for me aside to the work. And as human being, we always need connection and we always need relationship. So while you're find yourself, or in finding yourself, you will also be willing to tap in others and explore. And I love the curiosity approach, because also it's from there that you can learn, you can be exposed to new opportunity, you can actually open new doors, right?
Hmm.
Say, okay, let's open this door. What's behind? Oh, okay, interesting. Not for me. Oh, yeah, maybe this is for me, but not the rest. And
Absolutely.
very curious, right?
Yeah, and people are doing very interesting things. That's the thing. We don't realize that because we don't speak to anyone. People are doing interesting things. People want to help people. Everyone wants to help each other. And it only happens through conversation when you say, "Hey, let's meet up for a coffee," or let's just catch up. What are you up to? And it's not necessarily to know that who to meet up with. Just meet up with whoever comes to mind. Really, and you'll be surprised at what ideas come to the table and what can be created. We're in a very innovative time, right? We're in a crisis, absolutely, but there's still a lot of stuff happening. And to your point about connecting with self, let's not forget the mental health aspect of being, not just being made redundant. I think anxiety now is a very regular part of, it's almost like saying, I have a heartbeat, I have anxiety. People have anxiety very regularly. You wake up in the morning, you might be overcome with these feelings of just, the stress, the anxiety, the feeling down. So also acknowledging that relationship with yourself and that I need to take care of myself. Let me wake up. What makes me feel good? Is it having, is it going for a run? Is it having my cup of coffee? Is it just sitting? The starting point needs to be you managing this, because the mind is just the center of it's the mainframe, the main computer. Then next step, Once you're settled, you sit, you network, you meet people, do them in parallel. It's not a step-by-step
Yeah,
process.
yeah, of
Work in
course.
parallel, you know. So that would be kind of my initial advice. And then the other part is recognizing that we are not supposed to be in control of every aspect of our lives. It's just not possible.
Possible.
So I'll introduce the concept of surrender. We need to learn to surrender. It doesn't mean that means you're sitting on the couch and waiting for someone to knock on your door. You're being active, you're putting yourself out there, you're exploring, but you're also okay. If things happen, great. If they don't happen, great. You're surrendering to what's out there. You know you're doing the most that you can do and you're just going with the flow.
Absolutely. And there's, what does new career means? Because that's also questions we need to ask ourselves. In which career do we want to go?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this is a question that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you've been in the same line of work for a long time. And this is where I would say, it's important to explore your interests. What am I interested in doing? Is what I'm interested in doing something that will give me financial gain? Or is this just something I want to keep as an interest, which makes me feel good? If it is something that can give you financial gain, then you move to the next step of, right, do I have the tools? Do I have the skills to support me to move in this direction? But let's take a step back. I think because we also work in autopilot, we don't recognize the basket of tools that we already have. So I think before we even think about, the next, it's what do I have with me? What do I have in my basket? What am I good at? What do I want to learn more about? So those are the kind of the first things. And then when you recognize that, right, I want to pursue this interest, I see there's an opportunity there. Right, that's another area of development. Do I have what it takes to go into this, or do I need to study something? Do I need to take a course? Do I need to connect with someone that's an expert to give me more information? In the beginning, it's the brainstorm phase, it's the creating phase. You have all these ideas, and this is where I'll go back to networking, where this is why it's so important to meet with the different people that are in these fields of interest for you, to see, does this make sense for me? What's been their experience? Is this lucrative or not? Should I think of something else?
Absolutely. So I really like the way you are putting that down. So let's say if we want to put that in phase, first one was like, okay, let things settle down, you know, uh, connect with your mind and really make sure you are tuned and what is that your mind need to feel it's becoming more healthier so you can prioritize yourself over going in autopilot, driving to work, etc. Then it's simultaneously is allowed, okay, I have few interests, let me connect with different people in those domains and try to ask as many questions as possible, becoming as much curious as possible. Is this something I would see myself into? Is that lucrative enough? And then after that, in this brainstorming mode, we're going to go into a little bit of, let's say, the assessment diagnostic part of it. What do I need? What do I have already in my basket?
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
what I have in my basket. This is what I need. Maybe a certification, maybe um, an extra, I don't know, learning. Maybe, as you said, a mentor, somebody that is super amazing, good in that job that can really guide me and is willing to guide me through. What is that I can do to follow your step and reach where you are now? And potentially also, I'm hearing because we are both coaches. So we take for granted that being coach, you have a coach, and you have studied enough to be able to go through those phases. But it might be that people out there They are not that familiar with coaching or career coaching as per se. So how can a coach be helpful, a career coach be helpful, for example?
Yeah, I mean, a career coach, a coach, whatever type of coach you want it to be, get a coach. That's the first thing I would say. It's very different when you are mentoring is very different to coaching. That's the first
Absolutely.
thing. So when you're sitting with a mentor, it's more of they're telling you what to do. They're directing you on, in the what they feel is the best way forward based on their experience. When you sit with a coach, they're allowing you to explore. They're asking you the probing questions to think. They won't tell you what to do because it's not their place to do that. And that's even it. It's even more powerful in that way because, and not to take away from mentorship, because mentorship is extremely important.
Oh, you do
But at
both.
least you're exactly, you can do both. But whatever decisions you're making, you're convinced of them and you understand why you're taking that decision. It's not because somebody told you that this is the best thing to do or they feel that this is what should be done. I, as a coach, had a coach, and he changed my life. He helped me recognize, who do I want to be? How do I become this person? What is it that I need to do? What habits do I need to what habits do I need to start setting? What habits are serving me? What's not serving me? It helps so much to have somebody support you in this phase where, consider it like a lifeboat almost, where the waves, it's just very choppy, very wavy. It's a storm. The storm is your mind. And then you have this lifeboat, which is the coach being like, okay, so what got you into the water in the first place? So you think about it. So how do you feel you want to get out? He's not telling you jump on the boat. Or she. They are not telling you to jump on the boat. They're asking you the right questions to enable you to survive on
Absolutely.
your own.
Absolutely. And, we are so resourceful. There's so many things we don't even know. So, again, it's about bravery and curiosity to explore, go there, get dirty, get messy, and trust the process, right? So, after we have listed potentially what are the stage we can follow, what are the steps? It's not always, as we expected. So next question is about challenges. Yeah. Despite we go through this is, we've done that. We spoke with a mentor. We had a coach. We were networking with the right people. We are mentally there. We are focused. We are creative. We are courageous. But what could happen?
It's very difficult, and this is where I repeat how mental strength is so important, because you will reach a point, and I reached a point myself where I had spoken to every single person I could speak to. I had some people, telling me, yes, I will help you. Send me your CV now at 5 p.m. Don't be late. And then silence. You'll face disappointment. Some people can help. Some people say they will help and they will not help. And for you, it's a very emotional period. And then you sit and you might even feel that, you know what? I have nothing to offer. I'm never going to work again in my life. Nothing is
Oh,
coming my
wow.
way. It's over,
Yeah.
the doom and gloom. But then you forget that you've actually been making a lot of connections. You've been speaking to a lot of people. Um, every day presents its own opportunities. So you have to keep moving and be with the people that make you feel good, whether it's your friends or family, that will remind you of who you are, because you will get lost along the way despite all of the things, all of the tools, everything you're trying to help you. It's important to have that support unit. And if what I also found very helpful is making yourself visible, not just through the networking aspect, through social media. My platform was LinkedIn. where I would talk about the things that were of interest for me. I would blog about them, I would write about them, I would read the articles. So if you're somebody that enjoys blogging about your knowledge or writing about your knowledge, then do it, because people don't know what you know. They don't know what your interests are. So, LinkedIn is also a whole other platform. So when you're writing about things you're interested in, you're also allowing people to share a bit of who you are, what knowledge you have. And then behind the scenes, they're sitting and thinking, you know what? I should get in touch with this person because they might be able to help me with XYZ. So that's also another opportunity right
So
there.
I'm hearing between the line that they might take everything away from you. You know, you might get you might receiving negative, feedback. You might receiving a lot of rejections, or you might go through this moment where you don't see light anywhere. But what you're saying is like who you really are and what are your passion and what do you really believe into and what is the story you have to tell. Nobody can take that away from you, so don't disguise it, don't hide it, because actually the most strong steps we can take in those moments is keep claiming, and our space, and also I like call it like a manifesto of yourself. You
Hmm.
still exist. You still has a lot to give and a lot to say. So if you are not able to do that, if you're not able to keep, you know, pitching yourself, believing in who you are and feeling really strong. This is who I am. This is what I believe into. This is where I see myself in 20 years from now. Then, if you're lacking in this vision, you need to work on the vision before you start, looking for a job. And I think that also this is a kind of a key, to success the transition, because if you're lacking of this self security, self esteem, self confidence, and that clarity, we were talking about clarity, that then it's very hard. You will have a lighthouse, always taking the metaphor of the boat. You can sail too, right? So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, clarity is very important. Owning your story is very important. Knowing who you are, knowing what you offer, and knowing where you want to apply your skills, and whether it's skills that you have or it's new things that you've learned. So owning your story, and then being clear on where it is that you want to work, what type of environment do you want to work in, what type of stability do you need in this company that you're joining, or this team that you're joining. Are you tired of working in corporate? Do you want to try working in a startup? What type of space do you want to be in? Do you enjoy working on your own? So being very clear about your needs and wants will make transitioning into the next phase a lot easier, because you're not an autopilot anymore. And it's the autopilot phase is what creates this messy situation, because we forget that, we're just waking up and running. We're forgetting about being present, being conscious of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and for what purpose.
Yeah, and also kind of, you know, getting every day a little bit closer to make that vision that you have of yourself more concrete and tangible, right? Because
Mhm.
so many things, waves, winds, can shake you, but you know always where you are heading to if there's clarity there. And there's one reason that I really wanted you to be with me today, and it is also the fact that you are an expert in sustainability. Most of the time, we speak about sustainability more related to planet, environment, best practices, always with this very long outlook. I mean, hopefully, because if we're not sustainable, the outlook is not going to be very long. But, that's so important. With me being more involved into themes related to people and related to lives and career and leadership and team efficiency and startups, I always have stopped and asked myself, what does a sustainable life mean? What does a sustainable job mean? What does a sustainable relationship with your company or with your team, company culture, team culture mean? What does that mean for you?
Right. So sustainability will be very different per person because each one wants different things and has different things that they different responsibilities. So for me, the sustainability is could be anything from flexible work hours. It's important for me to work somewhere that will have flexible work hours or has the enables employees to work from home occasionally. The financial aspect is also important. Some people will just take a job because they want to take it because they need, like, let me just take the job and see what happens. Avoid that as much as possible because the last thing you want is to be somewhere where you're working, you're spending your time, and you don't feel like you're making what you want to be making. And that's actually time taken away from you networking, exploring, looking for those opportunities. um, and then if for me sustainability is also work life balance. Is my job allowing that? Is it enabling that? Maybe it's not enabling it now because I'm just getting settled in, but let's say 6 months to a year, if that's still not happening and I still don't feel this is meeting my needs and wants, then maybe ahead of time I need to start setting the pace to find my next opportunity. And then we go back to the networking, to the exploring, to identifying where is it that I want to work, who do I need to meet with, what might I need to learn. So that for me is how to maintain, let's say, your self sustainability.
I would love to tap into a very important topic related to sustainability, which is also the value matching. Sometimes we say, okay, I got this job, the salary is good, they're offering this and that, and we jump onto it because again, we are scared of not finding another one or time, we have the time pressure. But I like what you were saying about it's not over. Always keep thinking, what are your goals in a long term, in a long run? Because I might say yes to this job, but while I'm in the job, if I'm realizing, wait a minute, I don't want to follow this company culture longer. I don't see myself embracing those values. I don't see myself embracing that strategy or that way of doing business or that way of treating clients, stakeholders in general. That is extremely important if we put the lens of sustainability of saying this also do really matter. This really, really matter on the long run. So um, I would definitely suggest, how to apply sustainability. Always ask yourself every day, will I still see myself embracing this in 5 years from now? And if the answer is no, then
Oh,
we have
even a year
sustainability.
from now, even a year from now, even 2 years from now, is what I'm working in. Is this going to help me achieve what I want? Is this in line with a career transition as well might take you down a different path. Is this company is this taking me where I want to go? How does this support my existing knowledge? We always go into a new company with the mindset that we need to be pleasing them, they need to be happy with us, we need to deliver for them. We rarely think of the other way around, which is, what is this company bringing to me? How is this going to help me further myself up? So we are not the ones that are being assessed all the time. We are also assessing.
Absolutely. And I love this perspective because being myself a recruiter, I always have claimed my most successful interview being the one where the candidates were saying, well, this is literally exactly the job for me. Or, oh no, I realized that this is really not what I want, because, and if we go back from where we started, it's our relationship, you know,
Yes.
when you choose a man for your entire life, or a partner for your entire life, you are not only thinking, oh, what is that I will have to do to make him happy? You're also thinking, what do I want to get in my life with this person, right? And this is exactly the same with your employer, with your company you will be working with the job title you will cover, with the job position you will be, doing, and also with your career. It's a relationship. So I really love, this cyclic and give and take approach. So I don't have anything to add apart, saying a lot of thanks. We recap the steps. We see what could the challenges be, and also we really, that I really really like, stress the importance of have a vision, be clear, and think about a sustainable living, So I'm really grateful for this time we have spent together. And I want to remind to everybody that if you want to get in touch deeper with Lara, potentially get her as your career coach, as your sustainability coach, reach out to her, reach out to Leah. We are one click away. This is, or maybe one click closer. This is how I like to say. And do not hesitate. Lara, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Uh,
you, Elena.
is there something you want to add?
Uh, s- my last point would be, don't be scared. Don't be scared. You have everything you need to succeed. You just might need a bit of guidance. That
And I
would
will
be
add, there's a lot of people who loves you, that are already seeing you as the most wonderful, resourceful, and successful person ever. So don't keep looking at yourself through the lens of the people that loves you so much. I would say.
absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank
Lara.
you.
Have an amazing day, and thank you, everybody. I really hope to see you very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye bye.